Good day, everyone. This is Joe Smith, and this is the good news, mostly. Um, Joe Smith's just kind of like sharing some of these headlines. Joe Smith not going to go into much detail. If you hear a headline that interests you, Google it, get the full story. Joe Smith knows everyone's got a bunch of channels and videos and whatnot to watch, and so Joe Smith's trying to keep these little news stories short, less than 5 minutes that you can listen to in the car driving, just like old-fashioned radio news. But and Joe Smith's just kind of doing them at random once or twice a week whenever Joe Smith has a few headlines to share. Maybe in the future it'd become a daily thing or go into more details if more people are subscribing and watching and interested in this sort of thing. But there's so many other news outlets that probably won't ever happen. But Joe Smith just kind of wants to share some of these odd stories or good news stories that the mainstream media doesn't really cover or mention, but just in case you're interested. Here we go. Believe it was Chicago Marathon here this past week. Had sounded like a new women's world record set, and also a new men's world record set. And the men's world record is the first under 2 hours. It beat the 2 hour mark by like 20 seconds. So Joe Smith didn't write down the people's names, but Google it if you're interested. Congratulations to those athletes. That's a remarkable accomplishment on both your behalves, and congrats to everyone else that competed or ran in it. Just being in it is more than what a lot of people can do, so congratulations. U.S. military, Air Force are keeping the A-10 Thunderbolt 2s, aka Warthogs, active through the 2030s. They're currently replacing or putting new wings on every single plane, over 250, almost 290. Joe Smith thinks it is that our military has total. So every active A-10 is getting brand new wings to keep them flying through 2030 at least. And they're getting radar upgrades and some weapons upgrades. Their wing pylons before could only hold like one item, but they're redoing it to where they can hold up to 4 items depending on what it is. And some electronic or avionic upgrades as well. So good news for all the A-10 fans. If you've been in the Marines or Army, ground troops, this is good news to you guys, because we all know it's the A-10s that got our back. No F-22 or F-35 can come in and do the job of an A-10. So we get to keep our A-10s for another decade at least or more. Florida man. Yes, more adventures of Florida man. Florida man was arrested for feeding beer to a baby alligator. Stay tuned for more adventures of Florida man coming next week. And our last story today, good news. Well, some people might not like it, but some company, maybe it's almost sounds like Shell Corporation or something, but filed a lawsuit against several gun manufacturers in Ohio, and claiming that gun manufacturers were responsible for mass shootings by manufacturing AR-15s or other firearms, and a judge has dismissed the case with prejudice. It cannot be refiled, which is good news. Well, good news to Second Amendment gun lovers, good news to those gun companies, of course. Bad news to people that are anti-gun, but hear Joe Smith out here. You don't want this. It's going to open up a can of worms. You don't realize what it's going to do. You be anti-gun all you want, but this is not the way to go about it. This is just going to have unintended consequences. That's going to cause problems you can't even imagine, because if the courts rule that gun makers or ammunition makers can be sued or held liable for people that misuse their products, then guess what? Car makers, tire makers, oil companies, gas stations, city street department, county road department, state highway department, federal interstate department can be sued for drunk driving or other intoxicated driving deaths, as well as deaths and injuries. If the accident happened while someone's on a cell phone, guess what? The cell phone company can now be sued. Want to sue the gun makers for school shootings? Well, this will allow schools and teachers to be sued for allowing those school shootings to happen. It'll be to where nobody wants to be a teacher no more. You'll start paying even higher prices at gas stations for gas and taxes and for new cars or tires and stuff like that to offset the cost of all these lawsuits. Or the companies may even go out of business. You have fast food or other restaurants being sued for making people fat or giving them diabetes or something, people will be claiming. Anytime a product is misused, it's like you have pharmaceutical companies being sued because people take their prescription drugs and sell them on the black market. You'll have Clorox being sued because people were making meth or drugs or whatever out of their cleaning products or whatever they used to make that shit. It'll just open the can of worms to non-stop lawsuits, and it's going to ruin the country, ruin the economy. It's not something you want. These companies are making a product lawfully. They're following the laws. Sales are legal. You got to hold the blame with the person that's misusing the product. Nobody's ever sued a gas station because an arsonist went and filled up a couple gas cans with gas and dumped them on a house and set them on fire. It's never happened. No, it's never even crossed anyone's mind. Nobody's ever sued a gas station or a car company for providing a drunk driver with a car and a tank full of gas. It's never happened. It's never crossed anyone's mind. So why is it all of a sudden people think, oh, let's sue a gun maker because their product was misused and used in a crime. Well, if you do that, then everyone else is going to start getting sued for every other time a product is misused and used in a crime. There's a lot more crimes committed with knives and hammers and screwdrivers. So, have tool companies getting sued and knife companies getting sued and there you go. That's the good news, mostly, with Joe Smith and Joe Smith's thoughts on the one story there, one topic. So, if you have any thoughts or opinions on your own, feel free to post them. If you want more details on any of these stories, Google them. Thanks for listening. Joe Smith signing out.